talk about how they are feeling, and don't try to tell them how they should be feeling, because guess what, you're not the person who is experiencing this kind of grief. All right, so please allow them to talk about how they are feeling. The second one is help them to deal with the grief. Right, they are experiencing it. Help them to organize their feelings. So you have persons that will say, boy, if I was more committed to the relationship, if I was more committed to the family, then this wouldn't have happened to him, this wouldn't have happened to her, or the child wouldn't have died if I was more committed, if I was a more committed wife or a husband or a sister. If I was more committed, then this would not take place. Help them to understand that there is nothing at all they can do that would have not caused the person to die. There is nothing that they can do. That is a normal part of life. All right? So help persons not to grieve alone. Just call. You don't have to say anything on the line, but just call and let them know that you are there. If they need to talk, if they need a shoulder to lean on, if they need to cry, you are there for them. A next tip is take good care of yourself. Yes. Wake up and still show up. Take good care of yourself, because guess what? Hi, Kadian. Hi. You don't want to be the next person who will die. So take good care of yourself. Please don't neglect your health issues or your health concerns. Make sure that you remain healthy during the time of grief. Yes. If you are someone who has to take medication, make sure that you are taking your medication still, because we don't want to have to lose you also. If it is that you can't deal with it, please, I'm asking you, seek professional help. Help is available. Help is there. Seek professional help. You can't heal yourself all the times. You need help a lot of the times, because you're going to think that, all right, I see where my sister get over the loss of her husband, so hey, I can do it too. But guess what? All of us make up differently. All of us make up differently. And not because you see somebody going through it or get over it means that you are able to do so. Nothing is wrong with mental helpers. Please, guys. And if it is that you need some help in this area, I can help you. Just send me a DM and we will talk from there. And I must tell you also that I am a certified counselor. I also am certified with dealing with grief, trauma, and crisis. Alright, so let us get to where we need to be now, and this is identifying the different types of grief that persons go through. Alright, so yes, we have the normal grief. That is sorry. That is what everybody knows. The normal grief, we go through the process, the 5 stages. According to Kubler-Ross, we go through those 5 stages of grief, and then it's over and it's done. After the funeral, we are okay. We don't need no help. We need no help at all to deal with it, because guess what? We get over it already. As you're quint, we are over it. So that's the normal grief that most of us go through. All right, so we have the anticipatory grief. With anticipatory grief, this is where we are expecting the person to die. So where we have somebody that is terminally ill, whether it be cancer, whatever it is, whether it be HIV, even COVID now. We're expecting persons to die, so you kind of prepare your mind to lose that individual. So it's easier to get to deal with this kind of grief than a grief that is a grief that is delayed. So the normal grief, like the name suggested, like I said before, it is simple. We go through this simply. We just go through the emotions after the funeral, after everything is over. We can regain our strength and we can relive. We can start again to live. We don't need any help in dealing with this. Then we have the delayed grief now. In the delayed grief, this is where you say, all right now, I can't deal with this loss. So guess what? I'm going to put this at the back of my mind. And then when I'm ready to deal with it, I will then go ahead and deal with the loss of my husband or the loss of my child. So an example of this kind of grief is where, for example, you're attending school and you have exams coming up. And you know that if you don't pass the exams, you won't be able to get your certificate, whether it be your master's, whether it be your doctorate or your PhD. You won't be able to get it. So you say, guess what? You say, right now, right now, I'm just going to put this debt at the back of my mind. And then when I'm finished with my exams, then I will go through the process. This is what we refer to as a delayed grief. We postpone it until a later date. All right. So we have complicated grief now, or traumatic or prolonged grief. This is like for persons who they lose something and then it's all mixed up. It's a jumbled. They take years to get over it. They take years to get over this kind of grief. And this is when there is like a sudden death, a violent death, or multiple deaths. So this would be like, today I am talking on Facebook Live, and then tomorrow you hear say, Shiva dead. I mean, what? How? I mean, but just watch her on Facebook Live, or you hear that I went on the road and somebody shot me, or you heard Shiva dead and then you hear somebody else that is close to you die. We call this complicated grief. All right, so the warning signs is someone who's experienced a traumatic grief, which with this kind of grief, you will sometimes see persons starting to display destructive behavior, a deep and persistent feeling of guilt, low self-esteem, suicidal thoughts, violent outbursts. With this kind of grief, they just don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to cope. And complicated grief is one of the griefs that lasts the longest. Okay, so the disenfranchised grief now. This is where persons think, and they will share their opinions openly, that you should not be grieving about that because you're not entitled. You have no entitlement to be grieving about being a side chick. Yes, disenfranchised grief. You are not the wife, so how dare you come to the funeral? How dare you show up at the 9/9 in Jamaica? I mean, how dare you go through any of the stages of grief? Because guess what? You are a side chick. Disenfranchised. They feel as if you're not entitled to feel any form of loss towards the individual or the thing that you have lost. Yeah. Any questions so far? No? All right. So chronic grief now, this is experienced in many ways. Chronic grief, you experience it through the feeling of hopelessness, a sense of disbelief that the loss is real, avoidance of any situation that may remind someone of the lost or loss of meaning and value in a belief system. At times, people with chronic grief can experience intrusive thoughts. It's left untreated, chronic grief can develop into severe clinical depression. So, for example, chronic grief now. I say I grew up in the church, and I believe what the church was teaching me for all these years. I believed it, and now I am experiencing a different religion that is better than what I thought. Yes, Parker. Than what I thought that I knew from an early stage growing. So with this kind of grief, with the chronic grief now, it is where your mind is not at peace, your thought is not at peace, because you can't make sense of what you're learning now prior to what you knew then. Then we have the masked grief, and this is where, as the name suggests, you only show the physical symptoms or the negative behavior of your character will begins to display. Because guess what? You don't want nobody to know say you're grieving, especially the males, You don't want nobody to know say, you are grieving. So therefore, you just start display some negative behavior. And it's only persons who knows you will say, that behavior is not like Shiva. That behavior is definitely not like Shiva. So there must be something going on that I am not aware of. If they don't know that you're experiencing loss. Right? Cumulative grief now, as the name suggests, is not one loss, is not two loss, but is more than one loss, and you're just not sure what to do, and this loss is experienced in a short period of time because they didn't get any time to grieve about the first loss. So like for me, example, a couple years ago, like I shared last week, my brother died and then my aunt died. So I didn't get any time to grieve about my brother, and then get time again to grieve about my aunt, my grand aunt, because it was like days apart. It was like 2 days apart. So I didn't get any time to grieve for each loss. So I had to grieve. I had to grieve for the two of them one time. So it was something though. It was a rough time. But thank God for the little knowledge that I had, which was able to help me to pull through. So distorted grief, it is presented with extreme feeling of guilt or anger, noticeable changes in behavior, and hostility towards a particular person. Plus, it's very self-destructive. So distorted grief is where persons project their feelings on others. So you did it, you is because you didn't feed the cat died, and because you didn't feed the cat, remember that I did not feed the cat as well. So because you didn't feed the cat, I am going to project all my anger of losing my cat on you, because you are the one who is to be blamed. It's not me didn't feed the cat, it's you. All right, so it's called distorted grief. Inhabited grief now is where the person grieves internally, and I think this is one of the most dangerous type of grief that we have. The person grieve internally. Nothing at all is shown on the outside. No signs at all of grieving. And they keep this private. So you have to know the person to know that they are experiencing loss. Right? So problems can arise with inhabited grief though physical manifestation when an individual doesn't allow themselves to grieve. Secondary loss in grief is after the primary loss, can affect multiple areas of your life. So, for example, you're married and your husband was the breadwinner. So, with your husband no longer being there, you are now experiencing not only the loss of your husband, but also the loss of your provider, your sole provider. So that is what we call secondary loss in grief. The main loss of grief is also affects other areas of your life. Any question? No question? That's it? If you are hearing and you're clear on everything so far, just give me a wave. Just give me a wave emoji. All right. So absent grief now is where the person doesn't acknowledge the loss or show any sign of grief. So they have not come to terms, we would say. They have not come to terms that the person has died and is buried and is forgotten. They have not come to terms yet. So because they have not come to terms with the loss of this person, then they are not showing any signs whatsoever that this person is no longer with them. So abbreviated grief is a short-lived response to grief. This could occur due to someone or something immediately filling the void. So for example, for the females, you had a miscarriage and then boom, a month later or a couple weeks later you find out that you're pregnant with a child again. So that is what we would refer to as abbreviated grief. Something happens that caused you to stop grieving. So that's my little take on the different types of grief. However, as you know, I was going to talk about the children. So as it relates to the children, in this time, answer their questions. When they come to you as it relates to grief and what they're experiencing and what they are going through, don't bother. Yes, Jamaican, don't bother. But tell them you don't have any time and you don't want to hear anything. Please make time for your little ones. If you don't educate them, somebody else will. And the person who will may just be the person who you don't want them to. Alright? So take time and answer any question that they have. Their feelings are important. Give them choices. Don't bother think it's just one way they must grieve. Don't bother think because you grieve this particular way, then that's the way that they are supposed to. No. Give them choices. Talk to them about the deceased. If, for example, if it is a parent that they lost or a sibling, talk to them about the deceased. Talk to them about what is it that they are feeling. Talk to them about what is it that they are going through. Allow them to express how they are feeling. You listen. You listen to them without any form of judgment. Don't judge them. If it is that they feel like, they would kill themselves, listen. Listen, ask questions. Why do you feel like this? Why do you feel like this? What are the emotions that you are feeling? Is it that you're feeling sad? Is it that you're feeling confused? Is it that you're feeling bitterness, anger? Talk to them and listen without any form of judgment. Please, I'm asking. Allow them to attend the funeral. Allow them to go through the rituals of death that is established in your culture. Don't bother say, I protect the picnic them. No, you're doing more harm than good. Please allow them to go to the funeral. If it is that they want to participate in it, probably read a scripture or sing a song, allow them. It's one of their way of coping and dealing with what they are now encountering and experiencing. All right. And next thing is allow them to take break. Yeah. And this one, I also see it with adults, where we don't allow persons who are grieving to take breaks. Yeah, they need to take breaks. They need to take breaks because they need to know that life goes on after the deceased. So allow them to take breaks. If the children or the child wants to go outside and play with their friends, allow them to. If they want to play some video games, allow them to. If they want to go to the park, allow them to. And adults, yes, adults too. If he wants to go and play domino with his friends, allow him to go and kick some footballs. Allow him, no judgment. You know, if she wants to go and hang out with her friends, allow her to. No judgments. No judgments need to be taken. Just remember that they are trying to adjust to the new reality without the disease. So allow them to take breaks. Allow them to feel normal as best as possible. The more you help them to reassociate themselves with the new normal, is the better able they will be to adjust to what is happening. Right? And my tip that I would like to leave for today's broadcast is journaling. Adults can do this. Children can do this. Write how you feel. Write how you feel. Journal. It's one of the best things. I mean, I encourage persons to do journals because I see it as a way of tracking your growth and your development. So even during this time of grief, you can also do journaling. Right? Miss Linton, thanks for joining. I mean, I'm almost through, but thank you. So yes, journaling, and I will refresh the tips that I want to give that I have already given. Do not go through grief alone. Be there for your friend, be there for your family member, whoever it is that you know is experiencing grief. Even at the workplace, I mean, you can give them a little card. Buy them a $1 card or $2 card and let them know that they are not alone in this time. So be there. And remind them to take care of themselves. Yes, get up and show up. Not because you get up and you put on a little makeup and you put on a little nice clothes and smell nice means that you're not grieving. No. Life don't end because there is a loss. Life continues. So help them as best as possible to readjust. So remind them to take good care of yourself, right? Your health is important. And please, if you're not able to go through it, seek professional help. I can't stress this. Seek professional help if you're not able to go through it. For my friends who are Christians, seek help. Yeah, pray and you fast and you do all that, but Sometimes it's more than that, and you need somebody to take you through the process so you can get over the process. Yes. Jesus said to his disciples, "Come, we are going over on the other side." And they took a boat. Then they did not swim. They took a boat. So sometimes we feel that, like, as Christians, that we are able to do everything on our own. No. Not at all. Seek professional help and get the help that you need to overcome. Yes, he says that you are an overcomer. You are more than a conqueror. Let it become a reality. Don't just say it and be there in depression, be in denial, be in anger and bargaining. Get the help that is necessary. And like I said before, I am a counselor of grief, trauma, and crisis. Yes. So if it is that you're experiencing any form of these three, you can DM me and we will talk and see how we proceed from here. So I hope you had some form of information that can help you to go forward. Or if it's not you personally or directly, then it is to help somebody else. So I want to thank you all for spending some of your afternoon with me. And Miss Linton, I think she's in the UK, and I want to tell you sincerely thank you for tuning in. So yes, share the video. You can go on my YouTube channel, yes, and you can subscribe. Shiva Johnson Stewart. And please go on my Transformational Life Coach page and like and share. Yes, please. Thank you. And rewatch the video if you need any added information, or if anything isn't clear. If it wasn't as clear as I thought it was, please send me a direct message and we can talk. All right. So thank you. Bye. Love you. Mwah. Mwah.